발표 시작하겠습니다. Today I will present my literature review titled Virtual Avatar Review Research. So, first of all, this study analyzed 104 papers to understand current research trends and major topics related to virtual characters and AI characters. And the study mainly included English academic papers published after 2023 because this field has developed rapidly in recent years and led to new research topics and directions. And therefore, the review focused on recent research trends, and not all review papers were included in the final analysis, and only studies that matched the scope of this research were selected. So, first, these terms are all related to virtual characters, but they reference to different type of virtual characters. One key difference is who control the characters. VTubers and virtual influencers are usually operated by real people or human teams, while AI VTubers and AI idols involve a greater role for AI in generating content and interacting with users, and they also appear in different environments. VTubers and AI VTubers mainly operate through live streaming, and virtual influencers focus on social media, and virtual idols are more closely connected to the entertainment industry. And understanding these distinctions help clarify the scope of this review and the type of virtual characters including in this analysis. And based on this classification approach, I organized these papers into 5 research directions. Rather than grouping studies only by technologies or platform, I considered the research topic, research objects, and interaction context together. As a result, the studies were grouped into these 5 categories and covering interaction design, community dynamics, virtual characters, user behavior, and human-AI relationships. So next, I will introduce each category in order. So first is interaction experience design, which explores how virtual environments are designed to increase engagement, immersion, and participation through features such as chat interaction, multi-user participation, and virtual performance experiences. And second is social and collective dynamics, in which examines how people interact as groups, including community formats and group participation and social influence. And third is digital persona and impact, which focuses on how characters' appearance, personalities, and design shape users' feelings and engagement. And research on VTubers and virtual idols often falls into this category. And fourth is consumer intent and metrics, and which examines user outcomes such as purchasing, subscription, continued use, and ongoing support. And last is human-AI intimacy and emotional bonds, which explores how long-term interaction with AI shapes trust, emotional connection, and attachment. And this figure shows how current research is distributed across different directions. We can see that social and collective dynamics is the largest area, and suggesting that community, fan participation, and collective interaction are key areas of research, and consumer behavior and interaction-related topics also accounts for a larger proportion. And in comparison, digital persona and impact appears less frequently, and from these figures, we can see that current research mainly focuses on social participation and user experience in virtual environments. So this distribution reflects the nature of interaction experience design research, and system design and development is the largest category because many studies focus on creating interactive systems and experiences. And qualitative research and mixed methods are also common because immersion and interaction are difficult to measure through numbers alone. So overall, the field focused on designing systems and experiences that encourage active participation. So this line of research focused on how users experience and respond to virtual environments, and these studies examines how realism real-time responsiveness, and multi-user interaction shape immersion, emotional connection, and participation. And overall, this line of research helps explain how different interaction experiences influence user engagement in virtual environments. And this study shows that interaction plays a central role in virtual environments through chat, real-time responses, and multi-user communication. And users become active participants rather than passive viewers. And the findings also suggest that emotional connection is not determined only by visual realism, and even in simple text-based environments, responsive interaction can strengthen emotional connection, suggesting that responsiveness is sometimes more important than realistic appearance. At the same time, technical limitation and overly intensive interaction can create challenges and delayed responses. Unnatural behavior and constant interaction can reduce participation and increase emotional pressure. And overall, interaction can both strengthen and constrain user experiences in virtual environments. And many studies show that chat system, real-time responses, and multi-user interaction increase immersion and participation in virtual environments. As a result, most research focuses on improving interaction, immersion, and user participation. However, highly intensive interaction may also create emotional pressure, exhaustion, and emotional labor, while these negative experiences remain less discussed. And unnatural movement and emotional expression or body language interaction may also reduce participation because of social awkwardness, and users may adjust how they communicate to avoid discomfort, but these responses remain underexplored, and most studies also focus on human-controlled virtual characters rather than self-responding virtual characters, and less research explores how self-responding and continuously interactive characters shape relationship formation and interaction patterns. In this line of research examines how system design interaction features shape realism, immersion, and social experiences in virtual environments. And some studies focus on sensory design while others focus on interaction systems that support participation and social connection. Overall, these studies explore how technology influences user experience in virtual environments. And these studies suggest that creating immersive virtual experiences is not only a matter of improving visual quality, sound, movement, haptic feedback, and other sensory elements work together to create a stronger sense of presence and emotional engagement. And these studies also show that virtual performances often lead to social atmosphere of physical event. To address this, many systems introduce audience reactions and communication tools, share on interaction spaces, and support features that help users participate and understand performances more easily. And together, these findings suggest that virtual experiences are shaped not only by concept itself, but also by the sensory and social environments created through system design. And research has mainly focused on the positive effects of interaction. However, highly intensive interaction may not always lead to positive outcomes. So frequent real-time responses and continuous interaction may increase emotion fatigue, social discomforts, or negative emotional experiences, but these issues remain less discussed. And research also mainly focuses on human-controlled characters or fixed interaction patterns. At the same time, AI characters are becoming more capable of self-responding and continuous interaction, which may create different interaction experiences from traditional virtual characters. And meanwhile, less research has examined how these newer forms of interaction shape user experiences and participation. So these studies together shows that interaction move user from passive viewing to active participation. And these studies also suggest that emotional connections depend not only on realism, but also on responsiveness, interaction quality, and system design. And immersion is shaped through the combination of interaction and sensory design and social features. And at the same time, interact does not always lead to positive outcomes. Technical limitation and overly intensive interaction can reduce participation and negatively affect user experience. And overall, current studies mainly focus on improving interaction and user experience. And however, the potential negative effects of intensive interaction remains less understood, and negative emotional experiences, emotional fatigue, and social discomfort still receive limited attention. Another gap is that most studies still focus on traditional human-controlled virtual characters. As AI characters become more autonomous and continuously interactive, research on these characters remains limited, and we still know little about how AI-driven interaction shapes user experiences and relationship formation and interaction patterns. And next one, social and collective dynamics focus on community participation, group behavior, collective interaction, quantitative research is the largest category, while qualitative research and mixed methods are also common because community behavior is strongly shaped by social and cultural context, and overall this field focuses on how community builds norms, belonging, and participatory culture. And this category examines how fans move beyond simply watching and become active participating in virtual idol community. And through content creation, interaction, and community involvement, fans help shape community culture and contribute to the broader virtual idol ecosystem. And these activities also support self-expression and the development of social connection among fans. And this line of research focus on how online communities develop shared norms and maintain community order through interaction, and it also explores how participation in these communities help people build social connection and develop a sense of belongings and receive emotional support. And so this study shows that fans are no longer passive viewers. Many actively create content and help shape both characters and communities. And studies also shows that community rules are often built through interaction rather than platform control. And community members work together to manage conflict, maintain boundaries, and regulate negative behavior. And finally, repeated interaction can strengthen emotional attachment and belonging and community identity, and shared participation in community activity also helps people build social connection and feel less lonely. And this line of research focuses on how fan relationships developed in virtual idol community. Some studies show that fans may gradually expand their attention from one virtual idols to other members within the same agency. And collaborative streams create opportunity for audiences to interact with multiple members at the same time, which may encourage stronger connection with other members and the community. And however, the psychological process behind these shifts remain unclear. We still know little about which interaction features in collaborative streams contribute to these changes. And this line of research examines how fandom change in digital environments rather than simply consuming content, and fans actively interact, build communities, and participate in shaping meaning. And the studies also explore how traditional fandom theories can be updated for virtual characters and how platforms and cultural context influence fan community. And these studies shows that fans are no longer passive audiences in digital and virtual environments. Fans actively interact with others and build communities and participate in shaping content. And the studies also show that platform design and cultural content influence interaction styles, participation patterns, and community norms. Another finding is that virtual characters are not fixed, and fans continuously shape and expand them through interaction and participation. And research has manually explained fan creation through emotional connection and fan identity. However, fan activities take place on digital platform where visibility, interaction opportunities, and platform features also influence participation. As a result, fan creation is shaped not only by emotional factors but also by platform interaction design. So still, how platform design influences fan motivation and content creation remains less understood. And so this study shows that fans are no longer passive audiences. In digital and virtual environments, fans actively participate by creating content, interacting with others, and helping shape community. And through repeated interaction, fans develop emotional attachment, belonging, and shared community identity. And community norms are shaped by both fan interaction and platform design, which together influence participation, community culture, and overall, fandom becomes a collaborative process built through participation, interaction, and community practice. And overall, current studies mainly focus on emotional factors behind fan behavior. However, less research explains which interaction mechanisms drive psychological change and community attachment. We still know little about how collaborative interaction features help fans gradually move from attachment to the character towards stronger community connection. In addition, as more fan activities happens on digital platforms, more research is needed to understand how platform interaction design shaped fan motivation, participation, and content creation behavior. And digital persona and impact use relatively balanced research methods because it involves both user perceptions and character construction. And quantitative research and review research are the largest categories, while mixed methods and qualitative research provide deeper understanding of how users interpret virtual characters. And overall, this field focus on how virtual characters are perceived, trusted, and socially constructed. And this part of the empirical studies focus on how users perceive virtual characters and how these perception influence trust, emotional connection, and interaction. And researchers examine how appearance, emotional expressions, and human-like cues shape user experience. So overall, these studies suggest that realism is shaped not only by appearance but also by interaction and user interpretation. So this study shows that feelings really real does not come from perfect realism. Small mistake, natural reactions, facial expressions, and response styles can increase emotional connection, trust, and interaction. And these studies also show that avatars can reduce social pressure, making people more willing to open up and share personal thoughts. At the same time, being more human-like is not always better. When a character becomes too realistic, it can feel strange or uncomfortable. Overall, the feeling real develop gradually through interaction and emotional expressions. So many studies show that facial expression, emotional, and human-like cues influence trust, interaction, realism, and perceived authenticity. And research also suggests that human light is not always better, and too much realism may reduce acceptance. And however, less research explores how different avatar styles or level of human likeness shape authenticity, trust formation, and emotional understanding. And when virtual characters express sadness, apologies, or other negative emotion, it remains unclear how avatar appearance influences insincerity, emotional intensity, and message interpretation. So as AI and virtual characters become long-term social companions, these questions remain underexplored. And as virtual idols and VTubers continue to grow, these characters are no longer only entertainment figure. Their identity is no longer defined only by creator and technology, platforms, brands, fans, and cultural environments all help shape for how these characters are understood. And overall, virtual characters are continuously formed and reshaped through social, cultural, and technological influences. And this study shows that virtual characters are not fixed identity, and their image is shaped by technology, platforms, brands, fans, and culture. And this study also suggests that feelings of realness are constructed through media design and interaction rather than visual appearance alone. And fans project emotions and identity onto virtual characters, while brands and platform influence how they are presented. And overall, virtual characters' identity is continuously reshaped through social, cultural, and technological influences. And this line of research focuses on how people develop feelings of realness when interacting with virtual characters. And however, live stream interaction and AI conversation create different interaction environments, and live stream rely more on shared experiences and collective interaction, while AI conversation relies more on personalized and continuous communication. And although many studies discuss realism and interaction, less research directly compares how these interaction patterns shape feelings of realness. And as virtual characters move toward more personalized and continuous interaction, this issue remains underexplored. And this study shows that feelings real does not simply come from realistic appearance, and instead it develops through interaction, emotional expressions, media design, and user interpretation. And this study also suggests that small imperfection, natural reactions, and response styles can strengthen emotional connection and trust. Another findings is that avatars and virtual characters can reduce social pressures, making users feel more comfortable sharing emotion and personal thoughts. At the same time, being more realistic is not always better. When virtual characters become too realistic, they can sometimes feel strange or uncomfortable. So these studies further show that virtual character identity is continuously shaped by fans, platforms, brands, culture, and technological change. So overall, virtual characters become meaningful through ongoing social and emotional interaction rather than visual realism alone. So overall, current study shows that human-like use emotional expression and avatar appearance influence trust, authenticity, and feelings of realness. However, we still know less about how different levels of human likeness shape authenticity perceptions and emotional understanding and trust information. And limited research also examines how avatar appearance influences emotional understanding and message interpretation. Another gap is that live stream interaction and AI conversation create feelings of realness in different way, but direct comparison remains limited. As virtual interaction becomes more personalized and continuous, how changing interaction patterns influence feelings of realness remains unclear. So consumer intent and metrics focus on modeling on user behavior. So quantitative research is the most common method in this category, and most study examines why users continue to support virtual characters, spend money, or remain engaged. And common factors include on emotional connection, trust, and user experiences because these outcomes can be measured through surveys and statistical analysis and qualitative methods are used most often, and qualitative research explores user motivation and emotional attachment, while review research appears less frequently. And overall, this field focuses on the factors that influence user behavior and spending. And this line of research examines factors influencing user participation and spending in virtual idols, VTubers, and virtual concert environments. And researchers explore why users continue to support virtual characters and how different contexts influence their decision and spending behavior. Common topics include emotional connection, trust, immersion, user experience, and interaction quality. And the study also suggests that different factors become more important in different contexts, and emotional attachment often plays a large role in virtual idol settings, and while experience, functionality, and interaction are more important in AI anchors and virtual concert environments. And overall, this line of research focuses on the factors and drive continued support and spending in virtual entertainment environments. Another line of research focuses on how economic values is created in virtual environments, and researchers examined how fan participation, emotional engagement, business models, and platform structures distribute to economic outcomes in the virtual industry. And some studies also compares virtual and human influences as well as different user groups to understand how trust, emotional attachment, and spending behavior vary across contexts. And overall, this study explores how user participation, platform system, and market structure shape this virtual economy. And this study shows that user decision change depending on the context in virtual idol settings. Long-term interaction and emotional connection increase users' willingness to spend monies and continue supporting the character. And in VTuber and virtual concert setting, users care more about interaction quality, experience, and usability. And technical quality also affects participation and continuous use. This study also shows that the virtual industry generates incomes through multiple sources, while platforms and companies influence visibility and economic opportunity. Another finding is that different user groups respond differently to these same factors, and they suggest that user decisions depend on both the situation and the type of user. So user behavior may not only come from psychological factor, the way virtual characters are designed also influence user behavior. For example, characters' appearance, interaction styles, and character settings influence trust, emotional connection, and continuous participation. And as a result, user behavior depends not only on users themselves, but also on how virtual characters are designed. And however, current understanding of how specific characters' design features influence user decisions and behavior remain limited. And this research examines how virtual idols contribute to the digital economy through long-term fan relationship rather than focusing only on individual user behavior. These studies also explore how fan engagement supports business value and industry growth. And this study shows that long-term interaction and emotional connection help build loyal fan community and support continued spending. And this suggests that virtual idol business models spend on ongoing fan relationship rather than one-time purchases. And most studies explain continued support for virtual idol through fan loyalty, emotional connection, and purchase intention, and less attention has been given to how platform visibility system influence support behavior, and recommendation system rankings and content exposure affect which virtual idols users repeatedly see and support. And as a result, support behavior depends not only on fan loyalty or character appeal, but also on platform system and current understanding of how platform visibility shapes support behavior remain limited. And this study shows that emotional connection and continuous interaction are important drivers of participation and spending in virtual environments. And user decisions are influenced not only by content itself, but also by interaction quality, immersion, platform contact, and individual user characteristic. And different user groups also respond differently to the same interaction and platform condition. And the study also showed that the virtual industry generates value through multiple income sources, including donation, membership, advertisement, product sales, and brand partnership. And overall, virtual idols are becoming a long-term digital business supported by ongoing fan relationship. So overall, current studies mainly explain user behavior through psychological factors as emotional connection, and fan loyalty and purchase intention. At the same time, less research explores how virtual characters design influences user decision and support behavior. Another gap is that platform system may also shape support behavior, and recommendation system, rankings and content exposure influence which virtual idols user is repeatedly see and interact with. And this suggests that user behavior depends not only on emotional connection and fan loyalty, but also on character design, interaction style, and platform system. As more virtual idol activity takes place on digital platforms, the combining influence of character design and platform system, our participation and continuous support remains underexplored. And human AI intimacy and emotional bonds focused on how people develop trust and emotional connection with AI, and qualitative research is the largest category because many studies explore personal experiences and relationship development through long-term interaction with AI. And qualitative research examines how design features influence trust and continuous interaction, while review research focused on understanding human-AI relationship, and overall this field examines how trust and emotional connection develops through interaction with AI. And this line of research focuses on how people develop relationship-like experiences with AI through ongoing interaction. Researchers examine how conversation, emotional communication, and human-like responses influence trust and relationship development. And they also explore whether AI should be understood only as a tool or also as a social actors and interaction partners. And overall, this line of research examines how human-AI relationships develop and evolve in digital environments. And these studies show that relationship with AI develop through continuous interaction and the feelings of being understood. Over time, users may trust AI, build emotional connection, and view AI or virtual characters as social partners. And the studies also suggest that these relationships are shaped not only by user, but also by platform, algorithm, system design, and social norms. As a result, emotional experiences are influenced by both personal interaction and the broader technological environments. And VTuber study shows that viewers often feel closer to characters when they see more daily or behind-the-scene moment, and the interaction can strengthen emotional connection and the feelings of realness. In contrast, many AI idols still focus on stable and consistent interaction. Less research explores whether AI idol can build stronger emotional connection by presenting different sides of their character across situations. Human idols and VTubers often switch between more public and more personal forms of interaction, depending on the context. And however, it remains unclear how AI idols should manage the backstage switching while maintaining stable relationship with user, and this suggests a gap in understanding how different characters' presentation and interaction style influence emotional connection with AI idols. And these studies suggest that emotional connection with AI developed through interaction and the feelings of being understood. Users may gradually see AI or virtual characters as social partners, which can lead to trust and emotional attachment. And this study also shows that platform interaction design and personalization and algorithm influence both emotional intimacy and user behavior. At the same time, researchers also point out some risks, including dependency and biases system and unfair social perceptions. And overall, human AI relationships are shaped not only by user but also by technology, platforms, and social environments. So these studies suggest that human AI relationships are shaped by user, platform design, algorithm, and social norms, and human-like interaction features can increase engagement, trust, and emotional connection. At the same time, emotional interaction brings both benefit and risks, and strong emotional design increase over trust and dependency, while highly customized system may limit exposure to difficult viewpoints. And because of this, recent research focuses more on balancing better interaction with potential social risks. And most studies still understand AI as a tool or interaction system. And however, some studies on AI streamers show that AI is no longer only responding to user. AI can also participate in interaction, generate content, and influence the development of live streams. And because of this, people may no longer see AI only as a tool. They may also view AI as a streamer, characters, or community member. As AI takes on these different roles, in traditional view of AI as a tool may no longer fully explain this emerging relationship. And this study shows that emotional connection with AI developed through continued interaction and responsiveness. Users may gradually see AI not only as a tool, but also as a social partner, and leading to trust and emotional attachment. And the study also suggests that human AI relationships are shaped not only by user, but also by platforms, algorithm, and interaction design. And at the same time, emotional AI interaction creates both opportunity and risks, including stronger engagement and over trust and emotional dependency. So this study suggests that we still know less about how AI idol build emotional connection through different character presentation and interaction style. Less research also discuss how AI idol should switch between more public and more daily interaction mode across different situations. The largest issue is that AI is no longer only acting as a tool or response system. In some AI live stream environments, AI is not only responding to user but also actively participating in interaction and content creation. And because of this, traditional views that treat AI mainly as a tool may no longer fully explain these newer forms of AI interaction. So these studies together suggest a clear shift in virtual environments. Users are no longer passive audiences who simply consume content. Instead, they actively participate through communication, interaction, co-creation, and emotional involvement. And through repeated interaction, users gradually develop trust, emotional connection and long-term relationship, which encourage continuous participation and community involvement. And the studies also show that these experiences are shaped not only by user, but also by platforms, algorithm, and interaction design. And as a result, virtual characters in AI are often viewed as social and emotional partners rather than only as entertainment contests or tools. At the same time, stronger emotional interaction creates both community and risks, including emotional support and overtrust, dependency, and discomfort. And overall, virtual experiences are shaped by the ongoing interaction between user, virtual characters, and platforms and technology. And although many studies blend virtual relationship through trust, attachment, and other psychological factors, less attention has been given to negative interaction outcomes such as emotional burden and dependency and interaction fatigue. And less attention has also been given to how platforms, algorithm, interaction system, and visibility structure shape this relationship. And virtual characters and AI are becoming more autonomous and interactive. However, many studies still treat AI mainly as a tool or fixed character, making newer forms of interaction difficult to explain. And there is also limited comparison across live stream, fan communities, and AI conversation. And even though these environments may shape trust, emotional connection, and feelings of realness differently, as a result, more research is needed to understand how platform environments, interaction settings, and involving AI rules shape in a virtual relationship and user experiences. So future research would needed to move beyond individual psychological factors and pay more attention to how platform algorithm, visibility systems, and AI rules shape user experiences. As virtual characters and AI become more autonomous and interactive, understanding how relationships develop across different interaction settings remains an important question, and more comparison across live stream, fan community, and AI conversation is needed as these environments shift trust, emotional connection, and feelings of realness in different way. Future research should also pay greater attention to both the benefit and risks of emotional AI interaction, and including emotional support, overtrust, dependency, and discomfort. So that's all from my presentation. Thank you for your listening. 이상입니다.